must be happy because that's an arrangement that have been made for the first time this year. It has never been there before. And because members were struggling to get their 10 CPD points, and the management decided to offer these free webinars. I'm confident at the end of the webinar, it will be fruitful and profitable to members. And because of time, allow me to invite you to engage us on the chat side. We'd love to know
Onye enye boka irozi tone kera tuka iboka zuri nika. Sorry, Milka, we lost you. We can't hear you. Maybe you may confirm if the speaker can start.
I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm back. Thank you so much. Once again, welcome to IHRM First webinar 2024. My name is Milka Owao, CHRP. Of course, I have to add that, CHRP Milka Owao. And as I said earlier, this is part of a series of webinars that you are planning to have from now to March this year. And the webinar's aim is to provide you with the opportunity to learn and also to attain your 10 CPD points required for the renewal. So I would like you to engage us in our chat box. Please write to us. Let us know where you are joining us from, what you are doing, and what you'd like HRM to support you with. Your membership, as nowadays, you know, we've gone digital. You can print your certificate from wherever you are. If you're in Mombasa, there's no need of coming to HRM. If you're stuck or you need any help, please engage us in the chat box. Oh, sound. Okay. The way I'm at, there's no sound, or is it my side? So I cannot be heard.
Milka, I can
I'm
hear
sure I'm
you.
not muted. You can hear me?
Can hear you.
Yeah.
Now
I
hear
see people are saying that, yes, thank you so much for that confirmation. So as I was saying that you engage us in the chat box and let us know how HRM can help you. I believe that everyone is able to access their portal, and those who've made payments or have renewed, you're able to print your certificate, you're able to update your data. Please remember to update your data because that's what helps us reach you out. Like for instance, this webinar, we could have not reached you out without you updating your data.
I can hear you, Milka.
You can hear
Now
me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Do you want me to go back 2 minutes or 1 second, or I continue from where? Okay, I was saying that you engage us in the chat box. You let us know how you like HRM to help, to assist you now that you've gone digital. We always request members to update their portals with the information. Otherwise, could have not reached you if you had not updated your website, your portal. Please, it is a requirement, and that's helped both of us, you and the Institute. And also, let's maintain Q&A chat, that side for questions and answers only, and the chat side, engage us, let us know what you're doing, where you're joining us from, and how we can help you as the Institute. Our team will be checking and will be writing down the requests that we'll be getting from you. So as I said, this is the first webinar that we have this year. We still have more coming. Next week, we're having another one. So be prepared and keep watching. Be checking our social media, and please also participate. Give us feedback always. Because I don't want to waste time, I know some people have taken their lunch time to join this webinar. Allow me to invite or to recognize the presence of our Executive Director, Mr. Frederick Karani, to give us a warm welcoming remarks. Then we go to the next topic. Thank you, Mr. Karani. If you can hear me, please. Salimia watu na waambie what you have for them.
Thank you, Milka. Good afternoon, members. We'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to this first webinar. As my colleague Milka has mentioned, we did our best in terms of ensuring for supporting our members to be able to file in their CPD points. And then we realized at the beginning of the year, there was a bit of a challenge for last year. And we felt it will be best for the Institute now to support. And we will be running a series of webinars between now and the beginning of maybe the beginning or the end of March to allow within the first quarter of this year for members to actually be able to attain the CPD points. While we felt it will also be an advantage for our members, we were able also to partner with quite a few of our persons in the industry. And today's forum is a collaboration between ourselves, the Institute, and Jubilee Insurance, who have become very handy in terms of supporting us and being able to see the areas of concern and areas of need for our members to be able to understand. So the topic for today will basically be the employee holistic wellness. And we feel the takeaways that you'll be able to attain at the end of this forum will be the best one. So we appreciate each and every one of you, and your support is the best we've been able to get so far. And as Milka has mentioned, our team is on the chat. If you require any support in terms of membership, in terms of updating your portal, because as we are working towards digitizing all our records, it supports us in terms of knowing who are our members and where they are and how we can be able to support them. I do not want to take a lot of the time, but then again, I want to say thank you for the support you have given us so far in the year 2024. I know January was a bit long. At least now we're in February. We can be able to support each other. We support you the best way we know how. And I believe whatever support you need, we will be able to do that. So karibuni, back to you, Milka. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fred, for the opening remarks. Members, you've heard from him that this is the first webinar that you're having. Actually, when we came up with the idea, let me just allow me to mention this, Fred, that when you told me this, I was like, oh, so you want to offer free forum for members within 2 months? That's not possible. And you insisted that we have to do this for members. So cares for you members, and that's why we are here today. And the first topic is employee holistic wellness in partnership with Jubilee Holdings. Thank you so much, Jubilee, for accepting our invite to partner with us on this. So allow me to give a brief introduction of this topic. This is a training actually that runs for 5 days. We have it in August 16th there in Nakuru for 5 days. But we decided to have it as just an overview, just to take you through what this employee holistic wellness is all about. But the main training is coming up in August with the detailed course content and everything and the speakers. It will be physical. So if you don't touch any area, please just someone just mute yourself. Kindly. What is happening?
Hello, Milka.
Yes.
Milka, allow me to say something. There's something I missed out on.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what the initiative that we are carrying out in terms of a series of 10 webinars for this first quarter, it is to support members be able to file their CPD points for the year 2023. I just wanted to clarify that so that at least you will understand that whatever CPD points you will earn during this period of the webinars will support your CPD point accumulation for the year 2023, so that now the system can actually update that as you work towards attaining your CPD points for 2024. And I know Milka will mention before the end of the forum that our first free CPD by the Institute will be carried, free forum for the quarter will be carried at sometime in March for the first quarter, so that now that falls part of the CPD accumulation for the year 2024. So I wanted to make that clarification, Milka, so let our members be able to know that we are supporting them to be able to get the CPD points required for renewal for the year 2023. Thank you, Milka.
Thank you, Frederick, for that clarification. Yes, this is to allow you record your 10 CPD points for 2023, because we know majority of you did not manage to attend the 10 CPD points. I know time is running out, and as I was saying that this is just an overview of employee holistic wellness. We have a full training coming up in July. So if we don't touch in any area, please don't crucify us, because the time limit might not allow us to do everything. So the speaker of today, allow me to invite the Jubilee team. Willie, are you there? Willie, are you on call? Thank you. Any Jubilee team on call to say something before we invite the speaker?
Yes, Milka, thank you very much. Thank you for that opportunity. Thank you. And with the introduction. Thank you, our acting executive director, Dr. Frederick Harani. Thank you for this opportunity to be able to partner with IHRM, to be able to capacity develop our members and to be able to be in that space where we are learning and exchanging information. It's a very good time to be able to capacity build our members, especially in the area of holistic wellness. I want to take this opportunity to invite Ms. Anne Carano, who is on the call, to just make a opening remarks before we introduce the speaker.
Oh. All right, thanks, Willie. Thanks, Milka, Mr. Karani, the IHRM team. We are glad to support you in all your various capacity building initiatives. I hope this is a partnership that we're going to scale in the long run because, from the Jubilee space, we're not just looking at supporting IHRM, but we're looking at supporting the whole HR industry and partnering with, the various stakeholders across to see how we can drive the HR agenda to the next level. If there's one thing I always, tell our CEOs here and our staff, your one true source of sustainable competitive advantage is people. And I think for those who are at the IHRM dinner, that's what I spoke to. So I'm a strong believer that, it's not about pricing, it's not about distribution, channels, marketing, product, packaging, it's people. Because once you have the right people and you develop them well and you empower them, then they can deliver anything they want. The sky is the limit for you. So allow me to say a big thank you to Dr. Oroko Obegi from Tranquil. Those are one of our key partners for us in terms of supporting our wellness programs. And we're very grateful to him for offering to speak at this forum and just helping us understand how to drive employee wellness to the next level. And, obviously very, very holistically or strategically. So without much further ado, allow me to hand back the session back to IHRM and Dr. Oroko. And we look forward to learning this afternoon. Asanteni.
Thank you so much, Anne. Thank you for the opening remarks. We appreciate it. And even for your team for organizing for this event. So allow me to introduce the speaker of the day, Dr. Oroko Obegi. Dr. Oroko Obegi possesses more than 11 years of extensive experience in healthcare sector management, encompassing clinical oversight, health system administration, service delivery, leadership, governance, and policy development across both the private and public sectors. Currently, Dr. Oroko holds the position of Assistant Director of Medical Services and serves as a consultant psychiatrist. Where I come from might not allow me to pronounce it well. Psychiatrist. You can write it somewhere within the Ministry of Health in Kenya. Furthermore, he plays a pivotal role as an advocate of mental wellness among professionals in different fields. Additionally, Dr. Oroko has served as a senior medical officer with the county government of Nakuru, contributing significantly to the development of county health policies. His dedication to community well-being led him to work with Medicine Sans Frontiers, MSF, at the Dadaab refugee camp, where he contributed to the creation of an accessible healthcare package for the most vulnerable individuals in the community. Dr. Oroko's vast experience in health system governance, combined with his profound understanding of the mental health domain, make him an invaluable asset. The profile is big, and I might not read everything today. Just allow me to welcome Dr. Oroko, also to tell us more about what he does, because I can see is well equipped for this webinar. So he's the one who's going to take us through webinar. If you have questions and answers, as earlier said, please engage us in the question and answer Then the chat box, we leave it for any concerns that you have for HRM. I can hear some noise coming from camera, please. If you can mute ourselves, then I don't know where that is coming from before we look at our speaker. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's mute ourselves and get to listen to our speaker, Dr. Rocco. Thank you so much, members. Dr. Rocco, karibu sana. The floor is yours, or the system is yours, or the webinar is yours.
Thank you,
Karibu
Milka.
sana, daktari.
Thank you, Milka. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, yes.
Thank you for the introduction. So, as you've been informed, my name is Dr. Oroko Obegi. I'm a consultant psychiatrist. So, Milka, you got it well there. So, apart from being a medical doctor, I've also been in the area of leadership, where I helped negotiate a very comprehensive package. And I think I'm in the right forum because I understand the Institute of Human Resource Management deals with the issues of human and especially employees at the workplace. So maybe some of you we could have interacted in my capacity as the national chairman of doctors when we negotiated the CBA and got to sign and register it in the court of law. So I also have a vast experience in issues of labor relations. I'm also a certified mediator from Turin Institute in Italy as a conciliator, mediator, among many other things that I do. And above all, I like helping human beings. So I also work at Tranquil Med Center as a consultant psychiatrist. And we have a close working relationship with Jubilee Insurance. I guess that is the partnership we are carrying on to do this webinar. So I was straight to the topics of today, and we are talking about holistic wellness. From the poster, it was shared that there are takeaways. And I wonder why you are taking things away other than just leaving them where they are. Anyway, so the takeaways are number one, holistic wellness. Which are the concepts and benefits? Implementing holistic wellness at the workplace, and what are the wellness programs which can be done? And then another takeaway is best practices in implementing holistic wellness programs. From the start, let me say that life is about human beings. And life is about relationships. And life, therefore, means we should be able to have good interactions to be able to make our lives happy and healthier in this planet Earth. Can you picture yourself being alone in the whole world for the things that you've been thinking of having or owning, be given all of them to you? If it's a good plane, it's a chopper, if it's a yacht, if it is the best phone, if it is the best car, but then you find yourself alone. How would that life be if you don't have other human beings around you? And therefore, life is about people. Sorry, my screen is not moving on my end. Oh, I don't know, Milka, if your end, you can see the screen moving. Next slide be moving.
Hi, Doc. Now we are still on the initial slide.
Okay, let me get some assistant quickly. We are good?
Yes, that's better.
Yeah, it's moving now.
When we look at wellness, let me mention here that the issue of wellness at workplace is wide. And I tend to agree with Milka when you say this topic, we cannot cover it in 1 hour. So we'll touch on principles, and then I think in the subsequent trainings, you'll get more because it's wide. So there are 7 dimensions, there are 7 main dimensions of life that makes us to be okay. And these dimensions include mental, environmental, financial, physical, spiritual, social, and vocational. When we talk about mental wellness, it is basically when you are able to go about your activities and able to have resilience without feeling overwhelmed. Able to wake up in the morning, do your chores in the house, go to work, interact with colleagues, come back from work, get back to home, travel. Although there could be some challenges here and there, you're able to handle them without feeling extremely overwhelmed. Then we say you have mental wellness. Environmental, it is basically what surrounds us. How are you able to interact with each and everything that is around you? So be it issues of travel, are you able to go to work without feeling exhausted around the road? How is the road in which you are traveling on? How is the means of transport you are using? Is it a car you are using? Is it in good condition? Is it a matatu you are using? Are they playing loud music? Are they irritating you? And then for how is the environment impacting on you? Where you work, how is it? Do you work in a noisy place? Do you work in a calm environment? Do you work in a place which is full of smoke? Do you work in a place full of chaos every now and again? You're not very sure in the next hour whether there's going to be a fight, there's going to be a gunshot, there's going to be something wrong happening to you. So how is your environment helping you to achieve your objectives? Are the employees comfortable in the place where they sit? They have a proper seat where they're sitting, or they're sitting on a seat which is pinching them. Every time they turn, they are being pinched on their thighs, on their leg. And the equipment they're using, are they functional? Are they defective? So what is the environment in which we are? If it's at the family level, where you sleep, are you able to achieve good sleep? Are you sleeping in a dark, nice place, or you're sleeping in a place full of light, and therefore inhibiting the production of the sleep hormone, which is called melatonin, and therefore you are having sleepless nights and going to work when you are exhausted? Financial, basically, how are you able to meet your basic needs? Be it education, be it food, be it shelter, be it other entities that you are supposed to deal with. How are your financials? So all this again will contribute to your overall holistic wellness. Then there's physical wellness. Physical wellness now deals with issues of more of the biological functions of your body. Do you have any issues with your pressure? Do you have any issues with your sugars? How is your kidney? Do you have constant headache? Do you have any physical disability itself? Are you differently abled? So basically, how is your physical health and physical well-being? Are you able to work without having to constantly use medications? And if you're on medications, are they working? Are they enabling you to go about your activities? For those who are maybe 60 years and above, men, how is your prostate? Is it so enlarged that you have to keep on walking out from a meeting to an empty bladder? Are you made this aware to your employer that you have a problem so that when you keep walking out of the meeting room, they don't think you are badly behaved? And if you are a lady, you are a mother, maybe you got pregnancy. Is your employer aware of what are the changes? What are the physiological changes which happen in a lady who is pregnant? The emotional breakdowns you are going to have at the place of work? Do you have self-awareness of what is happening inside you that may interfere with your work environment? Do you have this information with you? Then the spiritual. Basically, we all come from spiritual backgrounds, but whatever you believe in, how is it affecting you? How is it affecting your work? Are you overly spiritual? Are you having thoughts that make you feel that you are speaking with Jesus Christ each and every morning? That now, today you wake up and you find the employees telling you they are not able to come to work because their spiritual leader has told them if they come to work, they are going to break their limb. Or if they come to work, they're going to lose their head. So as employers, again, as human resource managers, how do we respond to spiritual needs of our employees? How do we tell that these are within normal and these are the needs are beyond?
Hata nimemwacha akifunga ofisi.
Then social. Social is basically
Cynthia, mkotoa na nani? Oh.
Can you mute because noise. Okay. So social basically is about our human interactions. And in this social area, we have to appreciate that we all come from different environment and therefore we have different backgrounds. And as a human being, each and every person has a different personality. Are we aware of who we are? Do it takes a minute to go for self-awareness from professionals to be able to screen through and tell us what is our type of personality? Because personalities would interfere with our social wellness. How? You'll find somebody who has a condition, maybe we call borderline personality, whereby all the time they want things to go their way. And in the process, they will get into conflict with other people who have a different personality. And are you aware of the personalities types of the employees? And how are you able then to put in place trainings to help them understand how to deal with one personality or the other? For example, if you knew one of your colleagues at the place of work, when their sugar levels goes down, they become irritable. So when you have this information, when you see them getting irritable, perhaps the best thing to do is to give them a glass of juice. And once they improve their sugar levels, you'll be able to have a conversation. And there are those when they are tired, basically they cannot. Sorry, I think someone muted me by mistake. So I was saying, how do you assist the employees? How do employees at the place of work get to have self-awareness? And therefore there is need to have periodic personality checks at the place of work so that people understand one another. And then number two, periodic trainings on how to handle different types of personalities. This will help reduce conflict at the place of work and will lead to improvement and efficiency in terms of productivity of the employees. Then vocational. This is basically about the work we do. And the work we do is in line with what our profession is. The work we do is it in line with our trainings? Is it in line with our qualifications? Do we understand what we do? Do we like what we do? And therefore, the kind of work you do will impact positively or negatively on your wellness. And therefore, it is important that each and every person is put in the right career or in the right place of maximum productivity. How do you do that? You'll be able to do maybe AMRI tests for employees, take them to trainings, tell them to pick the departments which they are comfortable with, and through performance evaluations, then we're able to say who fits where. Because you find that when they are doing something they don't like, they do it badly, and therefore the efficiency will be down. And occasionally be taken through processes which they feel they have failed. And when they feel they have failed emotionally, they be distressed. And when they are distressed, their performance can go down and down. Therefore, it is imperative that employees are placed in their correct career, in their job group, in terms of what they like doing, what is their passion, so that they'll be more productive at the end of the day. So while we are here, also it's important to mention that there is need to continuously engage in annual screenings for our health. So again, it is imperative upon the human resource and the employees at large to know what kind of screenings you need to go for every time in a year to help you discover yourself. So number one is to check your pressures at least twice a year. Check your blood sugars at least twice in a year. For ladies, it is very important that you keep doing cervical pap smears and to check on your cervix. You never know what could be happening there. For men, if you are about 40 years, it is good to be going for your prostate screening once a year. It is a very common problem amongst men who are about 40 years. You find that the prostate can enlarge and can develop problems. And another thing to do is to make sure that to remain healthy, you should be able to have a balanced diet. Let me mention that nowadays, a generation of between 20 years and 30 years olds, they are developing a lot of emotional dysregulation. And one of the contributing factors could be the issue of diet, the kind of food we are eating. Now people are working in offices, they are getting fast food for lunch. I'm sure right now, maybe some of you are already eating some chips and some burgers and some additives that are being put there. And we don't know the contents of some of the additives which are put in our food that we buy from many places. So some of these fast food, they lack essential minerals that are very important in our well-being. So we find that people consume a lot of food which is not of value. So in the process, they miss minerals like zinc, magnesium, which help in our mental resilience, which help in keeping us strong without feeling extremely overwhelmed. And because of that, you find many people nowadays are easily overwhelmed by simple situations. And therefore, I want to advise at this juncture that for your holistic wellness, it is important to look at your diet, what kind of food you are eating. And let me say, the indigenous foods, they have the ingredient, they have the important essential minerals that are very important for your well-being. So, being a psychiatrist, I must mention something about mental health. And let me say that of late, we have seen many cases of people developing mental health challenges, and maybe partly because of our strong campaign that we have had on issues of mental health. And from the WHO report in 2022, it showed that about 15% of the working population, at least people have one mental health condition. And in Kenya, we have about 24.9 million people are working. That tells you from that percentage of 15, about 3.7 million Kenyans are living with a mental health challenge. And this is partly because of the increased awareness that people have had. And number two, there is continuous advocacy in the field of mental health. Unlike the past, where if you say you have stress, people will quickly tell you go to Mathare. And people think if you have stress or you have depression, some will say you have been bewitched, or some will say you've been kuna muntu alikuwekea kakitu, you know, and therefore, depending on where you come from, there'll be different connotations of that interpretation. But let me say, mental health is all about an individual being able to realize their life activities without feeling overly overwhelmed. The issue of burnout at the place of work, the issue of depression, the issue of how do you cope with life stresses when some people end up getting negative coping mechanisms. So the question is, how do you become aware that you could be having a problem? And it is very important that each and every employee, and especially the employers, to have programs at the workplace to screen. Apart from the physical checkups, it is very important that we also do mental checkups once in a year. At the workplace, there are factors that affect our mental health. And this is, number one, the type of work that we do, in which organization and which managerial environment we work in, the skills and competencies of the employees, and the kind of support available for the employees to carry out their work. So at this point, let me say, there's a delicate balance between work and life. Some people, because of the unmet timelines, want to stay at the workplace until late at the night. And in the process, they exhaust their mind. And they carry some work home. How do you balance? As human resource and as employees, there has to be an agreement. There has to be a way of ensuring that people are able to finish their work on time, and when they go home, they don't carry anything back home. Remember I said home environment is also very, very important. For you to be okay, it depends on how is your house where you stay. How are you relating with the people you stay with at home? Perhaps you are in a toxic environment at home. So you come to work and you want to stay at work until late, and you want to go home when everybody has slept so that you have minimal interruption. wake up at 4 a.m. and leave when everybody's asleep, and then becomes a vicious cycle of running away from your home environment. And if you notice that you are spending more time at the place of work. You know, there was let me off the cuff. There was an article from ESCC some days back that said, if it's the signs of corruption, and I'm not imputing any bad motive here. Signs of corruption, one of them was an employee staying at work beyond work hours. Every weekend they are at the place of work. Weekday they leave work at 11 in the morning, 11 at the night, and they get to the office by 5 in the morning. I understand. Kuna wale wanapenda kazi. But there could be a reason why you are at the place of work or two. Number one, the home environment is toxic and therefore you want to take refuge at the workplace. Number two, you will feel those reasons. If you notice that you are spending too much work at the place of work, mean too much time at the place of work, and you're not corrupt, that is subjective, then you need to check your environment. And if you notice that you're at work so that you can stay away from home, you need to go for help. If you notice your employees are at work earlier than usual, they're leaving work later than usual, there's need to speak with them and advise them to seek a professional assistance if need be. The skills and competencies, it is very important that you place employees where they are competent. If you place an employee where they are not competent, what is likely to happen? They are going to get stressed because every time they be overworking themselves to impress the employer. And as they overwork themselves to impress the employer, they will develop stress, internal stress, which most of them would not say. And when you have stress, it triggers production of a stress hormone called cortisol. The cortisol hormone will have effect on the arteries. The cortisol hormone will cause restriction or narrowing of the blood arteries. Once the arteries narrow, it means the blood supply to key organs of the body will reduce. The supply to the liver will reduce, the supply to the pancreas will reduce, the kidney will reduce, the brain will reduce, and the employees will begin to develop physical illnesses. Like, for example, when the narrowing of the artery occurs, the heart has to pump blood against a high resistance, and this will lead to increase of pressure. So employees will begin to develop unexplained hypertension, increase of blood pressure. When the kidney is not getting enough blood, it will develop acute kidney injury, which may go into chronic kidney disease. In the process, employees will start getting to go for dialysis. If there's no proper blood supply to the brain, some cells of the brain, which especially involved in cognitive functions and memory, would begin to die. And when they die, your employees' memory will begin to become insufficient. They begin forgetting simple things. They begin forgetting to reply to emails. They begin forgetting to sign some documents, and the process, the effectiveness of the institution will go down. If there's poor supply of blood to the pancreas, production of insulin will reduce, and the end result is someone developing diabetes, and they begin to take medication. In the long term, what will happen? You have a lot of employees having different physical illnesses. They'll be going to hospital every now and again. They'll be spending too much money to treat themselves. And as an institution, you'll be forced to buy more cover or more premiums. I know maybe this is not good for Jubilee because perhaps it may have an impact, but in terms of wellness, the end result is that the healthcare for the institution will be very, very expensive because you'll have most of the employees on medication and on procedures that could have been avoided if people were put in their skill in the area of competence. So you may say that it's something simple, but in terms of health, in terms of wellness, it has a great impact. And then in terms of organization, the environment, what kind of environment do you provide to your employees for total wellness? So are they working in a quiet place or they are in a noise place? If it is in a place where there are toxins, do they have proper equipment at the workplace? Do they have protective gear to make sure that they're not inhaling fumes, which will destroy their lungs and kidneys and end up getting very complicated diseases? So it's a whole discussion of safety at the place of work as a whole. And the type of work they're doing is also very important, as I've mentioned. So what are the risk factors for mental health challenges at the place of work? So at the place of work, depending on where somebody works, there are a number of factors that can influence negatively the issues of mental health. And as I've said, remember, the brain is the software of the human being. Being the software, it is the one running the body each and every minute. And if it is not functioning well, then it means each and every part of the body will not be okay. And therefore, the need for wellness of the mind. As I've explained, if the mind is not okay, then you are likely to develop physical illnesses that could have been avoided. So what content? So if there's no variety of work in terms of the work cycles, if the work is fragmented and meaningless, if somebody feels underused or being in a place where they feel they are underskilled for the work, if there's higher uncertainty, then this will impact negatively for the employees. Workload and workplace. So that one I've mentioned in terms of what kind of work and how is it. Are they having a high level of time pressure? Are they dealing with deadlines which they are not able to meet? And how do you support them to meet their deadlines? Supervision. Are we doing disciplinary supervision or supportive supervision? Are employees free to discuss with the management about their activities which they are not able to do? And at this point, let me say that the employees equally need to be trained to be honest and candid in terms of what they are able to do and what they are not able to do. If you are doing something you know you are not able to do and you're pretending that you can do it, it will lead to mental breakdown. The work issues, how are the shift hours? Do we consider social functions or do we consider work only? The work issues should be flexible enough to allow time for people to socialize and to attend social functions. Is very important as a recreation function for the mind. Control. How are people making decisions? Do employees have avenues to support one another and to make proposals at the place of work? Or they are working in an authoritarian environment, or they are feeling bullied and being harassed? If there's any form of bullying and authoritarianism, then it will impact negatively on the mental health, and in the process, physical illnesses will come in. The environment and equipment, I think that one I've mentioned earlier on as we began. career development. Are people happy with their career, or somebody is feeling stagnated? When people feel they are not developing in any way, then their morale will go down, and in the process, they get a mental breakdown. Homework interference. So how do you balance? How do people balance between work and home, including for persons with caregiving responsibilities? Do we consider, for example, people who have given birth and therefore they have to attend to their young ones at the workplace for wellness of everybody? When somebody has a young baby, do we have space where they can come and just feed their babies and feel happy? So what are the principles to make sure that there's well-being, there's mental wellness and the mental well-being at the place of work? Someone can mute the... Number one is supportive leadership. This one speak broadly about supportive leadership. Supportive leadership is about being aware of your employees and knowing very well that human beings are equal in terms of who they are. And there should be a leadership that doesn't discriminate people based on what they do or based on their qualifications. For an institution to function well, each and every person is important. For an engine of the car to run, each and every bolt is important. If you remove a bolt from the wheel of the car, the wheel will get off and you will go to your journey. And at this point, let me say that the leadership at the place of work plays a key role in terms of the wellness of the people. And I want to also mention that for many years, we have seen in the places of work some level of discrimination against someone based on where maybe they come from, maybe based on what they do. We want to have a leadership which is embracing to each and every person working in that institution. And especially men, when you have a problem, how do you address it? Do you go to your supervisor and say, I have a problem? How does the supervisor respond to you? Do they tell you when mwanaume jikaze kimwanaume, or do they listen to you? In terms of mental capacity, let's avoid at the place of work telling each other that jikaze kimwanaume. That one leads to many men getting depression and getting into substances. In terms of mental well-being, let's treat everyone equally and know that even men can be emotional and they can be down. And as a leadership, when somebody comes and says they have a problem, sometimes it's good, take them for a coffee date. And the coffee date doesn't have to be the date we are all thinking about. Take them to listen to them outside the work environment. When they are relaxed in an informal environment, they open up and they tell you what their problem is. So musikazie watu sana kazini, ama musikaziane maisha. Have a coffee date, chat about the work, chat about social life, have the culture of understanding where people come from, where do you stay even? For example, we are working in this institution. Do you know where your colleague stays? Ama mnaonana tu kazini and then kila mtu anaenda kwake. Supportive culture is what I mentioned. Evidence-based work is very important to give motivation to employees. Rights-based approach, whereby the risks are moderated. Active involvement, decision-making, you have to involve each and every person. linkages to organizational. Everybody should know what are the goals of the institution so they can work towards that goal. Communication. Communication is one of the issues that is very difficult. When you have breakdown of communication, it leads to conflict and unexplained sickness at the place of work. So open communication, prompt and timely communication, horizontal and vertical, is very paramount for employee wellness at the place of work. What are the strategies that we can have so that we maintain a healthy working environment? Number one is to promote the issue of mental health. So in Africa, sisi wa Afrika tunaamini ya kwamba if you go to see a psychiatrist, wewe umerogwa, wewe umerushiwa kakijiti. If you go to a mental hospital, then watu wanaanza kukuita, wewe mtu ni kama ameruka kichwa. So we need to embrace the issues of mental wellness at the place of work. If you see your colleague feeling down, if you see your colleague feeling lonely, isolating themselves, they come and tell you they didn't have a good sleep, they come and tell you they have a poor appetite. Usimwambie eti maisha ni hivyo, wewe jikaze, achana kusumbua mimi niko na mambo mengi ya kushughulikia. Let's open our hearts and our mind to listen to one another and avoid dismissiveness. If you're not able to listen to that person speaking to you at that point, refer them to your colleague. Unaweza kumsikiza, wamsaidie. Because if we do dismiss, somebody may slide into a very bad crisis, which will be very difficult to reverse. And how do we prevent? Then we need to have trainings at the place of work on what are the signs and symptoms of mental breakdown or of mental challenges. And these trainings would be quarterly, annually, so that everybody is aware. These trainings, we can involve professionals or we can have trainers inside the institution. And therefore, you should also be going for trainings to understand your personality, to understand who you are and how you are able to control your personality. If you are a manager, you equally need to understand your personality to be able to take good care of the employees. Because if you're a person who easily gets irritated, the employees will fear coming to you, and therefore they may go unheard. And when they go unheard, they may do something wrong, which will bring down the whole institution. For example, if employees fear you, they may know somebody who is destroying a generator in a hospital, and they will not tell you. So one day, you'll wake up and find there's darkness, there's blackout, the generator is not working. So as the manager, you'll be blamed for not being prompt in solving the issue. For example, the JKI, there's a day we had a blackout. The generators were not working.
Ingefaa nikunde nywele saa hii na ingekuwa 600 ama uoni. Kavraja hata kupiga kelele.
Someone mute. There's somebody speaking on the background. Okay, thank you. So I was saying, open in terms of how do you prevent? It's listening to people. When you listen to people, they'll be able to tell information which can prevent a crisis from occurring. Like what happened in JKI, maybe there's no proper communication there. Support and care for those affected by mental health conditions. I think it's important that now that we have understood mental health or mental challenges, sio kurogwa. If somebody is over drinking, sio tabia. Someone is drinking as a coping mechanism. Somebody is smoking weed, hiyo sio tabia. They could be going through a stressful environment and they are taking these substances as a coping mechanism. So before we dismiss someone, before we sack an employee who we think is badly behaved, who we think is drinking too much, or we think is rude, take a minute and take them through a professional mental health practitioner to be able to make an assessment and advice on what condition they'll be suffering from. And they be assisted, and then they come back as very productive employees. Otherwise, we'll be losing very intelligent and productive employees because of a condition you could have dealt with and maybe prevented. So what are the interventions? At individual level, people need to practice self-care by adopting regular exercises. And let me focus on this. At the place of work, it's good to have a program, which is team building activities, which are scheduled for the entire year. When people exercise, the muscles contract and relax, making the blood flow very efficient throughout the body, and this will prevent a lot of diseases that could have occurred. You should be able to take a break and relax and engage in some social discussions. You should be able to set boundaries between work and then maintain a work-life balance. You should be able to set realistic goals as an individual, and you should be able to engage with the community meaningfully. For the managers, what interventions can be done? Give employees opportunities, be able to make decisions about the issues which affect them. Let's avoid authoritarian management. Otherwise, we could miss a lot of good proposals from the employees. And when the employees contribute, they feel honored, and that will help them in being healthy and in being mentally okay and physically okay. So have flexible work schedules. If work involves people working from home, depending, maybe they are sick, for those who are not able to work from home, allow for that. Have resources and information whereby people can know where they can get the healthcare services from. At the organization level, the institution should develop workplace guidelines for health and safety and train employees so that they know if they get this problem, what are they supposed to do. Provide a conducive and supportive physical work environment, that one I've mentioned. Offer incentives to reinforce healthy behaviors. Can say people go for checkup. For those who go for checkup this year, you're going to get perhaps a bonus of 2% of your basic pay, something like that. Na msiseme nimesema watu ongeze mishahara. I said you can get that and monetary incentives to encourage people to go for checkups, maybe once a year or twice a year. Sometimes you could call the healthcare providers to the place of work, and they're able to do simple checkups like pressure, blood sugars, the weight, and provide simple first aid if they pick any issues there. You will discover that you will help a lot of people. Let me tell you a story. There's one time we went for a checkup for an institution. And guess what? The manager himself was diagnosed to have hypertensive crisis. And all his life, he never knew he had pressure. And he was told, you have to be admitted today. Akasema mimi niko sawa, mimi natembea asubuhi, nimeendesha gari yangu vizuri, nimefika kazini. But his life was saved. Otherwise, you'll have people have been working with high pressures. Unasikia mtu alienda function, akiwa anaongea na microphone, akaanguka, chwa, akakufa. And if you come from where I come from, in Nyamira, Wakisi watakwambia, huyo amerogwa. But it is, many people are living with undiagnosed chronic conditions. Therefore, make it routine at the place of work to call providers to do screening. You will save a lot of lives and remain productive. Another one is to create and maintain dedicated quiet spaces for relaxation activities that were said, and provide resources where possible needed to support all these activities. How do we prevent mental challenges at the place of work? At the individual level, we need to develop positive coping mechanisms and coping strategies. Let me say that in life, there will always be an issue. There will always be a source of stress. The question is, how do you cope with that stress? Do you feel overwhelmed? And what are the coping strategies? So there are many coping strategies which will work for different people in a different way. So the coping strategies to a stressful environment include having time to care for yourself. If you are a man, ukienda kunyolewa, usinyolewe haraka haraka unatoroka. Just sit, enjoy the haircut. That is for yourself. That is self-care. If you feel like having mguu ipapasu kidogo imasachiwe, do it. That will make you relax. Yeah, my fellow men, take time for self-care. Don't just go to the bar or to the places of watching football. And for the good reason, if you do self-care, spend time, go have and drive, depending on your hobbies. Go have a good meal. Go out and have to see animals. If you are like seeing animals, take care of yourself as a person. Then you are able to take care of the other people. That is part of the holistic wellness as a person. You can establish social support structures depending on where you are. If you feel you're not okay, be vulnerable as a person. Usijikaze, usiseme eti nikisema watu wataona namna gani. No. There's nothing that is small. If you feel emotionally unstable, if you feel you're not okay, if you feel you have headache, if you feel your leg is paining, if you have diarrhea, don't hide it. Kucha kazidi ambia watu, leo nimehara, na wanakuuliza na ilikuwa namna gani? Unawaambia iko yellow na iko na kadamu. Somebody will tell you, go for a stool check right away now. If you don't, maybe you are developing some cancer that could be caught earlier and be healed. Somebody will say, my uncle alikuwa anahara namna hiyo. And when he went to the hospital, he was diagnosed with this condition, or he was helped. So when you know some conditions can be caught earlier, when you think it is something small, unaumwa na tumbo kila siku na usemi, share with your friends. They will not see you like a sick person. They will help you get care. So acknowledge when you are feeling unwell and be free to seek care. Then you also participate in employer-sponsored activities like this one, wellness programs, and ask for help from others that I've said. For managers, what can we do? We should enhance effective communication that we have discussed. Identify those at risk and refer them for help. Define clear and achievable expectations, and then you conduct regular audits to know if somebody is not meeting their targets. Would they be okay? Are they swallowing tablets of diabetes? Are they having a cough which they are hiding and they need to go for a checkup? Is their family okay? Are their children in school? Those social issues can interfere with our wellness at the end of the day. At the institution level, all this we have said, providing resources for training and coping skills, hire adequate staff to minimize burnout, approve flexible working hours. We have said all this. More important is provide stress management interventions. Not each and every person knows how to manage their stress. There are those who get easily overwhelmed. Therefore, it is very important we have regular trainings on how to handle stress. So for those who are already suffering from one condition or the other, how do we help them out? So at the workplace, we should be able to have a good cover for each and every employee. And I'm sure Jubilee provides that good cover. Jubilee Insurance is very in terms of healthcare, Jubilee Insurance is on the top of things because I've seen their activities, I've seen their continuous advocacy in terms of wellness. So getting your employees a good cover, it is very, very important so that they're able to feel free to go and seek care whenever they need it. Be open-minded if you are the individual about the experiences and feelings of the other colleagues, and then you seek help when you need. And therefore, you need to know where to seek help. So there's the manager level and the supervisors, they need to provide time off for employees to attend to their medical appointments, support employees in terms of return and integrate work after treatment. Let me emphasize this. For employees who have gone for maybe rehabilitation or who have gone for surgery, surgical procedure, when they come back to work, they could have found that things have changed. Their colleagues have moved so far in terms of their timelines, and they feel guilty sometimes. And therefore, each and every person who has gone for treatment for whichever reason, when they come back, to ensure they are okay, there is a need to integrate them back to work environment. Do therapy for them, do regular checkups for them, encourage them, and tell them while they were away, you missed them. They will feel happy and they will feel supported. As the organization, what can you do for those who have conditions? You need to establish an employee wellness program, provide all-inclusive and discriminative working environment, ensure that healthcare, mental health care is accessible at the workplace or through referral. This means you have to make a known which facilities or which hospital people can go to when they have this particular condition, so that even they feel stigma, they don't have to tell you that I'm going to the hospital. They can check in on their own and seek care. Because sometimes there are those who feel if I say ninakunywanga pombe, nitavutwa kazi. But if they quietly walk to a therapist or a professional and say nakunywanga pombe, they are able to be assisted and be able to continue with their work. So making them known which institution they can go to is very, very important. It's good to facilitate clinical screenings and provide mental wellness spaces at the place of work. So what are the key steps to establishing mental wellness programs at the place of work? So we need leadership support. Have a committee at the place of work to identify people going through problems, be it physical illness or mental illness. Develop workplace wellness programs or policies. Develop a costed work plan and mobilize resources and all that. So there are different approaches you can use to support and follow up the integration and recovery for those who are sick. What is important is to decide a return to work plan. When somebody has been sick and they're coming to work, how are they coming back to work? What are the issues which were tackled at the health institution? What are the recommendations from the professionals in terms of their health? Sometimes professionals can recommend flexible work schedules for employees who've been treated, or change of department, or scaling down on responsibilities, depending on the kind of challenges they've gone through. For example, someone has been cut their limb, and the working environment is that they have been working upstairs and there's no lift. So it's a person who can easily be changed from their desk in the upstairs to the ground floor, so they're able to access their desk easily. So it is always very important to take into consideration somebody who's been to hospital, they're coming back. Take a minute and know how can we support them depending on their health condition and the recommendation. So it's very important to work hand in hand with the primary healthcare givers of the employees who have gone for treatment, so that you're able to know which recommendations to implement. And in terms of checkups, there are different blood checkups you can do depending on where you are and where you work. And this is just a sample of what Tranquil Med Center offers, different packages, which are very, very subsidized. So work with institutions which are able to give you special packages for employees, so that they're able also to know their well-being and they'll be able to know if they're sick or not. And also it helps for someone to know they're okay. Unajua kuna wale watu wanaogopa kuenda kupimwa damu, remove blood, unapima nini? But when you tell them I've done all the screening and you're okay, it will boost their morale. Hata wanapata mtu anaingia kazi kama anarukaruka, kumbe ameenda check up Tranquil, ameambiwa you are not sick, everything is okay. Anaingia kazi kama anasikia mimi niko sawa. So it's good for your own wellness and the holistic wellness. Okay, so we're coming to the end of this presentation, and we dare say that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to seek help. Stigma stops with you. So if you have a condition, don't feel guilty. Don't stigmatize anybody who tells you they have been diagnosed with cancer, they have been diagnosed with this ailment. Support them. And don't be quick to terminate anyone's employment just because you think they're not going to be productive. First, find a way of rehabilitating them and supporting them to the end. And when you work all the day, then what do? You need to do exercise. This is part of Tranquil space where employees, this is an example of where you allow employees to have time off and stretch and relax so that they are well and they are able to perform effectively. So I think these are some of the Tranquil employees who are in Tranquil field having fun. After play, maybe get a fruit. So I'm not saying that all places have fruits, but you need something indigenous. Remember earlier on I said about indigenous foods being very important for our mental resilience and our well-being holistically. So take a minute and eat an indigenous fruit. These are the guava trees. If you can see from there, eat indigenous food. It is very important for your health. So thank you for listening to me. As I said, this is a very wide topic. We can go to the questions and be able to respond as much as possible. And thank you, Jubilee. Thank you, IHRM, for giving me this opportunity to have this facilitation. Sandisa.
Well done. Thank you so much, Dr. Yes, indeed, it is okay not to be okay. I've agreed with you, Dr. But only one area that you should not encourage, allowing these men to go to Kinyozi and take time anyway. They should come back home very fast. Don't need ladies to take time in the salon. What are they doing there anyway? Thank you so much, Dr. for this presentation. I've learned a lot myself, and I also encourage my team that anytime my employer actually has provided us with everything. You're on the 24th floor. You can carry your food. There's fridge there. There's a microwave there. There's almost everything there. So I always tell my team, even with all these things, have time, take a walk. Personally, I've never visited a gym. I don't even know how the gym looks like, unless I've never tested those things. But I love walking. I think it's one of the areas that has been identified as exercise, where you can do exercise, you can walk for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and get yourself energized, improve your health through that. It's not a must that you visit gym. I know many ladies love gym, but I'm not discouraging you. So thank you so much, Daktari. I'm wondering whether we have questions, because members have been engaged on the chat box by our team. I cannot see any question. Do we have any? Yes, I can only see the comments like excellent. Just a minute. Excellent presentation, Doc. Okay, I'll give you time, please. If you have a question, if you can raise your hand. Is there a tab for that done, where someone can raise a? Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is John from Nyahururu. I wanted to ask Daktari, when he was talking about the guiding principles of for workplace mental well-being, he never explained what it meant for the right-based approach. Can you hear me?
Doctor, did you get that?
Yes,
Can you repeat again, please? Repeat the question.
Yes, he was not able to explain what he meant by the right-based approach as one of the guiding principles for workplace mental health well-being.
He was not able to explain.
The right-based approach.
Yes, sure,
Okay.
sure.
Thank you for that question. I'm not able to go back, but in brief, the right-based approach is whereby you should be able to understand that when you're dealing with human beings, each and every human being has a brain. And no matter the level of education, each and every human being is intelligent in their own way. And that's why we have tried to make artificial human beings in terms of robots, and we have not succeeded. A robot cannot wake up and say, I'm going to this market, now let me cook tea, now let me go to the gym. It cannot do that. So right-based approach is able to recognize that each human being at the workplace has an opinion, and therefore to listen to each and everybody's opinion, even when we don't agree with it, to have a discussion and get the ideas and be able to have to, maybe you want to decline with the ideas, decline it with respect without being dismissive. So this is an approach where we're not dismissive, we are accommodative to each and everybody's opinion, even when we don't agree with them.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Doc.
Welcome. And perhaps to add, even if there's no question on that, is that each and every human being wants to be appreciated. And when someone is listened to, they feel appreciated. And when they feel appreciated, they'll be more productive.
Thank you, Daktari. Appreciation is very important. Ensure that you appreciate your staff members all the time for the job well done. Frederick, you have a question? I can see your hand is up. All right, can go to the next person. Frederick, you're there? Yes, please speak it up.
Yeah, I'm here, Frederick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted Daktari to clarify on you are working in a toxic work.
Frederick, are you there? We lost you, Frederick. Okay, Seems there's a problem with Frederick. Can you unmute her, please, Dan? If he can be unmuted. He had a question that he has not finished asking. Okay, Fred, go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'm asking Daktari.
Oh.
How?
Okay. We can't hear you, Fred. Or is it me?
I can't hear too. I cannot hear.
You can't hear too. Okay, we can have the next person asking. Frederick, unfortunately, we cannot hear you. Yes, Catherine, please go ahead. Allow Catherine to talk.
It's Salala Boniface using Catherine's laptop.
Where's Catherine?
This is not around.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a colleague of Daktari at Tranquil Med Center. I'm a medical psychologist. So I was noting some questions from the chat box, and I'll read one from Catherine Kibera saying that kindly organize for free monthly webinars throughout the year.
Hello.
And then for James, James was saying, thank you for the overview on mental health, Daktari. Could you please talk more on what counts as a mental health condition?
Yeah,
Okay.
for the free forums, we have them, as our acting executive director said. We'll be having the first 10 free forums from now to March. Every week, next week we have another one. Then from there, we'll be having monthly HR forums. So yes, we'll be having monthly HR forums, quarterly, quarterly. But from today, we are having weekly free forums up to March 31st. So that is catered for. Thank you.
Okay, and then Daktari, could you please take us through what counts as a mental health condition from what James requested?
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Sarara. Thank you, James. Yeah, as I said earlier, mental wellness is, let me begin by saying the brain is the software of the human being. It is the one which runs each and every part of our body. So how are you being mentally okay is when you are able to realize your own abilities and cope with everyday stresses of life and still work productively without feeling extremely overwhelmed. So what is mental health condition or mental health illness? It is when you are being overwhelmed by the normal life stresses, is when you are not able to wake up and go to work, and if you go to work, you're feeling of low energy. If you are supposed to eat, you find that you have poor appetite. The activities you used to enjoy, most of the time, you no longer enjoy those activities. You go to sleep, you are turning like Aurora on your bed the whole night. You cannot sleep. You have to wake up and use your phone and go to social media. You are trying to catch sleep, you cannot. You are being easily irritable to very simple things, and you can easily fight. You find that your memory is not working okay. You place your phone here, next minute you don't know why it is. So there are many, many, many areas to look at to tell that you are mentally not okay. So those are some of the things which will show you have a mental health challenge. However, there are those extremes of mental health conditions, like somebody who has bipolar mood disorder, or children who are born with different disabilities like autism, or those who have ADHDs, that is attention deficit hyperactivity disorders, or people who have schizophrenia, or people who have other personality disorders. So those are extremes. But in terms of basic wellness and to know you're not okay, the things I've told you, the things to look out for: you are drinking excessively, you have to drink before you go to work, you have to drink before you sleep, you have to smoke marijuana to give you sleep, you find that you're not finishing your course on time, you have to spend too much time. So all those being overwhelmed, it's an indication that something is not okay in your mind.
Thank you, Daktari. There's one I can see from Peter. Dr. Oroko, what is a thin line that separates an enabling work environment with holistic wellness? Did you get that, Daktari?
Recap again.
What is a thin line that separates an enabling work environment with holistic wellness?
Okay, I hope I got the question well. The thin line separating is it an enabling or enabling work environment and holistic wellness. So there's a very thin line, and let me say that the dimensions of wellness that I mentioned, the work environment is one of them, and holistic wellness is not entirely dependent on the work environment. It is dependent on those 7 dimensions that I mentioned: the home where you come from, the physical wellness, that are you suffering from any condition, the financial situation of your life, and the people you interact with, be it at the social areas, be it at family level, and the childhood experiences. Some of us have grown up in a very difficult environment when we were born. Some have faced extreme traumas as children, and that has got an impact in terms of your wellness today. So yes, holistic wellness is wide, goes beyond the work environment. However, the work environment contributes to your holistic wellness. I hope I've answered that question.
I hope so. I hope, Peter, you've heard. So allow me to read the last one, then you can give one person to ask, then we close. This is past 2. There's another question. How can one handle a toxic working environment, more so with colleagues who are hell-bent to bring others down?
Yeah, that's a whole subject of its own, but I tried to summarize it in few words. So it is true that there exists conflicts at the place of work, and the conflicts at the place of work sometimes have a negative impact in the productivity. So how do you deal with that? There is need for bringing in a third party when you're not able to agree with your colleague, to have a neutral opinion, and that's why mediation and conciliation comes in handy. So you feel there's a colleague who's bent on bringing you down, number one is to have self-awareness. You as a person, is there something wrong you are doing? You as a person, do you understand your personality? Are you creating this toxic environment yourself? So the first thing is to do self-evaluation. And before you proceed, then if you think you are not having proper self-awareness, seek professional assessment. Tell the mental health practitioner that of late I'm getting into conflict with my colleague. They will ask you questions. They will ask you deep questions about yourself and about the colleague. Then they'll be able to bring out who you are. And if they feel then you have a problem, they'll be able to advise you to change. Once you are aware of yourself, next thing is to talk with your colleague, find out what is angering them. Also now being aware of the person you're being in conflict with. If it doesn't work, bring on board a third party. You go to the HR manager. If the HR manager is the one who is toxic, go to the next level. You can even use your colleague in the same level and say, I have a problem with so and so. Can you come in and listen to us? The third party at the place of work will come in and listen to and to resolve. If not possible, extend and seek external mediation. External facilitator, external conciliator will come and listen to you. then all that process will help you resolve those conflicts. And therefore, you'll be able to know which styles of conflict resolution to employ. And styles of conflict resolution at the place of work are many. That can be another topic of its own. But I think those are the steps which I can guide you to use.
All right. Thank you, Secretary. I hope the member has been responded to well. Let us have one question from the audience, and we can close it from here. So, Winfred, I can see your hand is up, please.
Yeah, thank you. I love the way the session is taking shape. So some time back, I recruited a staff who 2 weeks later, we discovered he was suffering from extreme bipolar. He couldn't relate well with staff, with the management. The institution generally was chaotic. So my question is, one, now that we are very vocal about diversity, equality and inclusion, where do we categorize mental health issues? And as far as recruitment is concerned, as recruiting officers, what measures should we put in place so that, we are not seen as if we are discriminating those suffering from mental health wellness issues? I mean, and as well as ensuring that the person again we are recruiting is not feeling as if they're being discriminated. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Winfred, for that very, very crucial question. Thank you. So, number one, for institutions and for people doing recruitment, my advice is that there are guidelines, there are ministry guidelines on workplace mental health policy that has been done by the Minister of Health. So number one is to encourage each and every employer to get those guidelines so that we get to understand how to deal with that so that we don't discriminate. The number two, specifically about your question, it is a very delicate balance. Somebody who has extreme bipolar disorder can be very difficult to work with if not well handled. So I will advise at this point, although I know as part of a policy advocate in the process of having discussions so that mental health, basic mental health assessment becomes part of the screening that is done for employees when at the point of entry. Because I've seen many institutions sometimes ask for some medical reports, some physical checking. When students go to school, they go to the doctor and their physical health being checked. So perhaps the next level is to have basic mental health assessment for people we recruit, depending on which job they are taking up. The number three, in terms of how to handle a given person with a mental health condition, is first to send them to the mental health practitioner before we dismiss them or before we say we cannot handle this. So if we missed the initial mental health assessment before entry point, then when they get sick now already at the workplace, you send them for evaluation and for possible advice whether this condition can be managed and be maintained or what can be done. So when they go to the professional, they do the assessment. If they need to be put on treatment, they be put on treatment. And the professionals, the mental health professionals will write a report to the employer and they say, from our mental assessment, we feel or we ascertain that this individual can work up to this level. These are the changes you need to do for the kind of work you are giving them. This is the kind of environment in which they can work. To be more specific about people with bipolar mood disorder, they should not work in a confrontational environment. They should not work in a high pressure environment. They easily get tipped off, but they can work in another environment which is calm. If people understand them, when they start arguing, sometimes you just agree with them if the argument is not leading to any serious decision making. And being on medication, we have many people who have bipolar mood disorder. You will never know they have bipolar mood disorder. Even we have some politicians who are your leaders who are on medication and they are suffering from that condition. Therefore, before you dismiss them, send them for evaluation and treatment, and the professional attending them will be able to advise you whether what they are doing will be appropriate. You need to change their job designation, or if it's not possible at all, they'll be able to advise. So don't panic when you see somebody excessively manic at the place of work. Send them for evaluation, they be put on treatment, they be calm. You never know they are sick because they are on medication, and the medications do work. Thank you.
Thank you, Daktari. Thank you, Daktari. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
Yes. Please allow me to read only one. I know your time is up. You're supposed to go somewhere at 2:15. Actually, our contract with Daktari was supposed to end at 2. So he's just doing a pro bono. So please allow me to read only one, because if I don't read this one, this person is like your namesake. You know, I was like, how can Dr. Rocco ask a question? Who will answer this question? And I realized it's a different person. So allow me to read this one, then answer. You can just brief. Don't go into details, at least for the person to feel good. So there is a question. How do we handle mental health issues in relation to sick leave approvals at workplace? Like an employee calls in the morning asking to be away because they are not in a good mental state to be useful at work. Did you get that, Daktari?
So how to handle people seeking sick leave to go for mental assessment or something?
How do we handle mental health issues in relation to sick leave approvals at work? Like an employee, for example, employees calls in the morning asking to be away because they are not in a good mental state to be useful at work. It's like this particular employee knows that he's not mentally fit to report to work. How do you handle that? Because maybe the person asking this has been receiving such leave days. Somebody just called you in the morning that I'm not coming because I'm not mentally fit to be in the office. So as
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Let me say that amongst human beings, we have some who can misuse a service, or some who can be just mischievous for one reason or the other, and they can blame the issue of mental unwellness as a result of them not coming to work. So in this situation, I think it is very important that you demand for as an assessment from a qualified psychiatrist, so that the psychiatrist be able to give that opinion that yes, this person, his mental condition cannot allow them to work. So when they ask for a sick of, demand that they bring you a note from a qualified psychiatrist who can then authoritatively confirm a mental condition, making them not able to work or not. This means, therefore, you need to work closely with these professionals. And if you are not in an area where there are no psychiatrists, you can use a psychologist who can do a quick assessment and be able to advise. So don't just give the leave, give it and then demand that they bring evidence that they saw a healthcare or mental health professional and they come with the note. Therefore, you need to work closely with the regulatory bodies also to know who are the certified mental health providers, so the people don't again go and get quacks and pretend they have seen a mental health specialist. So it is valuable to always collaborate with different institutions so that you also have a list of the qualified professionals in each and every area.
Thank you, Daktari. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Members, time is up. I know some of us are going back to our workstations. Actually, we decided to have it from 12:30 to 2 to allow members during their lunch break, they can have this, because I know there are some people who are working under tight conditions. There's no lunch in some working areas, that one I know. So this, we are planning for the main training in August. Daktari has not handled everything because of time, and this one I mentioned it when we started, but this is just an overview of what we are planning to have in August 12th to 16th. You plan to attend, please. Doctor will be there. Doctor will officially invite you to be there physically, and you will demonstrate to them how this works. So thank you so much, members. Thank you, Daktari. Allow me now to invite the Jubilee team to give us a closing remarks. Jubilee?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Milka, for that opportunity. I want to take this opportunity to really thank Dr. Oroko for a very insightful webinar focused on holistic wellness. We extend our gratitude to our members for the participation. So yes, we understand there are a bit of interruptions. We hope that we'll be able to minimize on these in the coming webinars. So at Jubilee, we are committed to promoting, as we mentioned, not only the well-being of our individuals, but of course the vitality of the organization as a whole. So we are really committed to looking forward to interact with the members here for these customized products that we can actually tailor-make for our organization to elevate the wellness experience of our employees. Of course, I'm saying this because we understand that each organization is unique and our employees and well-being is definitely a priority. So once you get in touch with our Jubilee teams, allow us the opportunity to give you wellness solutions that will align with your culture, with the diverse needs of the workforce. As we mentioned, let's embark on a journey towards a healthier, happy, and more productive workplace. So thank you very much, Dr. Oroko. Thank you, HRM, for allowing us to partner with you. And we look forward for even more collaborative and more engaging sessions in future. So thank you very much. I wish my fellow members a very fruitful Friday afternoon and a good weekend ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Members, just to remind you that kindly interact with our training program. The CPD program 2024 is out there. We have very rich programs that you can attend from 2 days to 3 days to 4 days to 5 days. We even have breakfast meetings there. You can nominate, or your CEOs can attend to interact with other fellow CEOs. So please interact with the program. Women, we are there on March for Women Leadership or Women in HR. Please don't fail to attend that one. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for attending. See you next week. Keep checking on our social media for the updates. We'll have a flyer probably next week, mid next week or early next week for the Friday's free webinar. Keep checking, interact with our social media, then you get to know what we have for you. We have very nice things for you. Thank you so much. Have a lovely afternoon. Enjoy your lunch if you have not had your lunch, or enjoy your free walk or free time. Thank you. See you next time. Same time from 12:30 to 2 on Friday. Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Milka.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.